He's right on this, and it feels very strange to be, as a Conservative, to say that the former Labour leader is correct. But he is, and he pops up every now and again and says something and then disappears. But this, I think, will resonate with the British public more than absolutely anything else.
Yeah.
He is spot on. The left needs to work out that the country as a whole is grown up enough to deal with comments, with statues, with people having different opinions and all the rest of it. So I think, yeah, absolutely good on him for this, and I support what he said.
You see, some people will really be literally tying their teeth behind their head because they won't want to give Tony Blair any credit whatsoever. But I'm prepared to do that. I'm able to, accept that he's done something good. Danny?
Yeah, like you, I have nothing but disdain, really, for Tony Blair. I think it's true because, although, listen, we're talking about the Good Friday Agreement later on in the show, and we must credit him for that. So we're going to credit Tony Blair later on in the show because he was instrumental, along with Bertie Ahern, the Irish Prime Minister, or is it Taoiseach? OK, so I credit him for that. What I don't credit him for is the dodgy dossier and the wars that have followed that. If I may just address something he said in his article for The Guardian, please.
Yes, go.
OK, so The Guardian, you're right, The Guardian have picked up on this. Tony Blair, in a punchy forward, Tony Blair claims of a certain group, a large number voted Conservative despite agreeing with the party on Brexit. They thought Labour's far-left economic policy was a bigger threat than Brexit.
You're thinking of food again, Danny, for goodness sake, every time.
What that tells me
so early in the show
is that those people who voted Remain but then voted Conservative with the mantra, get Brexit done, they're Democrats. They understand that even though it's 2019, 3 years before that was the referendum, and Tony Blair still can't get past that. They're Democrats, Tony, lad. So the fact that he's saying, despite get Brexit done, they still voted for Conservative.
Well, exactly. That's what we're saying in the monologue, frankly, that people who are Remainers, who voted to Remain, despite the whole mantra of the Conservative Party, which was get Brexit done, they still weren't prepared to trust the Labour Party with the economy. And that's the bottom line, really.
And it is, and I think they've got good cause to be suspicious of the Labour Party because they don't seem to have any plans for the cost of living crisis. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that the Conservative government are on top of everything. But Labour don't seem to be putting anything forward. They're all right, they go on about a windfall tax and say that the government isn't doing enough. Well, OK, what is their policy? Where are their plans to get the cost of living crisis under control? Because I don't see it. It's all very well to sit in the sidelines and say, you're not doing enough, you're awful. But the voters disagreed with them.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they've been pushed on the windfall tax, and it looks like Boris Johnson will backtrack and probably do that, which to me, it makes no sense why they didn't do that in the first place. Even the boss of BP saying, yeah, no, we'll just, we'll be OK with it. I mean, and actually the profit was on the additional profit, not the unexpected profit. So it wasn't really that big a deal. And also, I would go further. I would actually put a tax on those companies that benefited during the pandemic through the policies of the government. So companies like Amazon and Deliveroo and all those companies that specifically got the business of the general public because of the lockdown situation. I'd clobber them as well.
Just to get back to the central point about whether wokeness is the right direction for Labour to go, and The Guardian actually printing this, they're tying themselves up in knots about what they can and what they can't say. The fact is when questioned, is it possible for a woman to have a penis, and they just clam up. They need to come out and say, listen, women can't have penises. I have one, you two have vaginas.
Thank you for that, Danny. I mean,
that's what biology
if anyone's eating or doing anything at this point, you didn't need all that.
So, and they need to just say that.
Yeah.
But the
thing is, actually, to even be drawn into the whole conversation with it, I mean, at least Wes Streeting, at least he said, as far as I know, he said a very short biology lesson, men have penises, women have vaginas, biology lesson over. I mean, that should literally be as succinct as it should be. It shouldn't be then a long conversation about this whole thing and then even being so...
It's curious you say that, because I've highlighted what Wes Streeting said, telling an interviewer, and this is in the same article, men have penises, women have vaginas. Here ends my biology.
That's what I've just said.
No,
literally.
but
Did I not literally say that?
No, but what he doesn't say, he wasn't pressed, can a woman have a penis? So what he says is men have them. The interviewer should have asked, OK, we know men have them, but can women have them?
No, because I think the whole point of this
Or does that sentence address
no,
it, do you
he's just
think?
addressed it straight away.
I think it does. I think
you do? Okay.
I think, this whole tying yourself up in knots, I think
I'm starting
perhaps
to
you're trying to do the
Maybe you need to vote for the Labour Party. And also, you didn't hear it. I've already said that. I've literally said that.
I know you did. I'm not saying that you
And I
didn't.
said it without reading it as well, because I'd read the article, memorised it, Danny.
No, you're right. You're better than me. But
a referee.
I just thought that there was room for him to still say that it was possible for a woman to have one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But isn't that the point, though, that everybody is tying themselves up in knots, desperate not to offend anybody, when you are always going to offend somebody?
Yeah.
And you have to get over that.
And whilst you're wasting time on the minutiae of detail, which is incorrect anyway, because you're saying that women, by effectively not accepting that women don't have penises, you're actually saying that they could have one, which wouldn't be a real one if it was one. So
a prosthetic.
Exactly. Yeah. We can all have something prosthetic made. If, you know, I could have one of those if I wanted to. But it's not actually the real thing, is it?
They need to firm up their stance on
what I'm saying is by focusing on that, and Keir Starmer focused on Partygate, and by focusing on that, they're missing the point. But the electorate are concerned about the economy. The electorate are concerned about we want a strong party to go up against the Conservative Party, and that's what they missed. They missed that moment where they could have been strong, but they focused on Partygate, and then Beergate came along and knocked them off the moral high.